mention neuroscience in all of that, because I was studying some of that as well. And it's like very important to know that our brain is very, very flexible and neuroplastic, so you can learn a lot of new things in a relatively short period of time. And and they also say, like, brain is basically a computer program, and so whatever you put in your brain, this is what you get. So that's important, because a lot of people are identified with their kind of thought patterns. That's why I'm working with people's thoughts, and CBT, sorry, comes into play in that sense, because a lot of people, even without knowing, they cherish those very, very negative and sabotaging thoughts their whole life. Like, even like subconsciously, they're used to thinking the same thoughts over and over again, and they're then, how they say, like, if you're um, thinking the same thoughts over and over, how could you have a different life? How,
Mm.
it cannot happen. So in order to change that, first thing is to kind of become aware of those thoughts, like, to catch yourself when you're thinking something negative, and then say, oh, why am I thinking this? To kind of detach from what you're thinking, because majority of people are, sadly, they're still kind of identified with their thoughts and with their beliefs, and but these are all, like I said, these are all very kind of possible to change. And they say that in order to create a new habit, you need only like 21 days or something like that. So
60,
it's
66. Yeah, 66.
yes.
That's the new
Okay.
science. They used to say 21, and
All right.
now it's 66.
Yeah, well, it changes all the time, so I would kind of even prone to say less than that, just because it's like, I want to put a positive kind of outcome and intention to it. But let's say it's very, very kind of fast.
Oh yeah.
If once you decide, like, okay, I really need to change my thinking patterns, I want to change my life experiences. And so in my coaching sessions, I'm trying to kind of work with people on their goals and what they actually even want, because some people don't even know what they want. They're
That's
like,
true. Yeah.
okay,
How can you
I
get it? How can you get Yeah, how can you get it if you don't even know? There's so many levels. That's why, like, what you were saying, like, going back and, like, there's so many levels of
exactly.
understanding, and it's I think the most important, is knowing where you are first, right? Like,
Yes,
if you don't know
yes,
where you are, how can you get to somewhere else, right? So, like, I say I wanna go to Ireland from here, from Montreal, okay, but I don't know where Montreal is. So, do I go north? Do I go east? I don't
exactly.
know.
That's a
But
great example.
right? 'Cause
Yeah,
I don't even know where I am. And then if you don't know where you wanna go, you say, "Oh, I want success." Well, what does that look like to you? Where is
yes.
that, right? So again, if you have no idea and you say, "Oh, I want," like, this the silliest, most immature, like, "I want to be rich." Okay, why?
Yeah,
You know, and then what are you doing towards that? Like, what steps are you taking towards that? And it's
yes.
like blank face, like nothing. Well, I'm just eating chips, drinking beer, and watching Netflix. Well, how are you gonna get? So you don't want to be rich, like, you know what I mean? Don't be like, because if you did, you'd be doing something towards that, right? So there's this level, and that's like, again, I think that's one of the most important things, is identifying where that person is, and I'm sure you do that really well. So you want to talk to that?
Yeah, no, no, it's a great point, because it's like that. That's why I'm kind of, even like in my definition of when I was explaining about my job, I say mindfulness coach, which would imply being in the present moment and actually see where your strengths are, now. And because, for example, since I went through classical training in psychology, I know about those more classical psychotherapies, like psychoanalysis, and there's always kind of like some sort of focus on past, or like early childhood or traumas, or there is a certain quality in all of those approaches, and I don't want to diminish any one of those. But I actually personally love to use solution focused therapy, which actually is kind of all about present moment. Where are you in this particular moment? Where are your strengths and where are your capacities to then go from this moment to the future and into creating life that you desire. So this would be much more of a focus for me than kind of digging up the past. I mean, sometimes you have to kind of release some sort of issues in order to move forward, but definitely what you said, being in the present moment and just seeing things where you actually are at, and going from there is a great standing point. And once you become aware of your now, then you have the most optimal chance to create a
It's
best possible future.
exactly what they say, the power of now. Like it's really where
Yes.
all your power, and you read it over and over and meditate on it and think about it and see all your powers in now. Like you have not yesterday, not 5 minutes from now. It's like it's now, and then like what is now? There's this whole like I was watching this video. This guy was brilliant, and he was just like, well, like now, now, and he's like, well,
Yeah.
anyway, what's the now? And look at this slice, and actually the now, what I just said, and the now in like second later is actually worlds apart, right?
Yes.
And again, quantum physics or string theory and all that stuff. I could say now is closer to like, let's say when you and I had a conversation like a year ago. It's closer to that
Yes.
than the now, like now, like so. It's very confusing, and our mind has this tendency to stick things together to make to make sense of stuff. And our memory is so flawed, and I've spoken a lot about this on my podcast and on my 90 seconds of wisdom. I've done a whole video dedicated to it, and I'm saying that like it's crazy. Like every time you recall a memory, you change it because
Yes.
let's say something happened when you were like 7, so then you remember it when you were 9, but you remember it as a 9-year-old in that thing, and then when you're 15, then you're 20, and then 25, and every time you've changed, and every time you've recalled it, you've warped it, and then you filed it again. So what's the original memory? Like
Exactly.
super altered.
Yes.
So then when you have somebody, say, and that's why, like, again, I'm complimenting very much your approach of all these different things combined and seeing the full picture is because if you just say, well, tell me what happened when you were 10. Oh, my mother, my father, they were so mean to me. Well, were they? Or that's how like from a 10-year-old mind, it could be like, well, they just told you you couldn't, have candy before dinner because they didn't want you to spoil your dinner. And you were just like, oh my God, they're so mean. And you got like, and then you got like, you know what I mean? As time went on, you're just what my parents are mean. And then what's the root of it? Because they didn't give you a bowl of candy before dinner. But were they really mean? No. So then what are you holding on to? And that's why I'm saying forgiveness is such a big one, right? And you and I know this very, very well. Forgive
Yes. Yes.
yourself, forgive others. You're holding on to um, a memory that most likely at least 40% of it is not true, right? At all. And there's so many studies on that. Like, and you're holding a grudge for something that probably, and even if it was accurate, who cares? Because it's not now, right? And it's not
Exactly.
the future. It's something else. So there's so many crazy stories. Like I remember, people I've known like sisters who are fighting and not speaking for years, and they're like they don't even know why anymore. you know, they can't even remember what set it off. Like I don't speak to them. Why? Oh, we had a fight years ago over what? I don't remember. But you're still holding the grudge. It's just wow.
Yes, for the sake of it.
Right.
I know. Yeah, what they say, like it's not about you're not remembering your past, but your memories of your past. So it's like it's like almost like copy of the thing and not the thing itself.
Mhm.
And that's why it's so important to actually for like spiritual people and people who had this first-hand spiritual experience of being connected with everyone and everything, and like time being an illusion, and like I don't want to go too deep into this, but they probably might be able to release that kind of patterns of the past and those traumas more easily, because they kind of experientially saw it for what it was, and that's an illusion, and that's all in your mind, and you're creating all these memories, and you have these false memories, so a lot of false memories, and you're maybe holding on to this false identity. Even like some people live in fear, live in anxiety for a long time, and then they are so identified with it, and then they go to someone who actually confirms it to them, and then they're kind of caught in their own web of their own identity that they feel like they should kind of continue with, just because they believe like a person is a state and not actually a process. That's why I'm always saying like person is just a set of neurons that are kind of, and I mean in terms of 3D realm, that I'm now saying like it's always possible to reconnect those neurons, to evolve as another, like to take on another type of learning and identity, and not be identified with those negative thoughts. And so it's like a very complex, as you said, like person is not just the body, it's not just the thoughts, not just the
Mhm.
emotions, but all of that combined.
Yes, but
Wow.
that's deep. Like I think of that. I try to tell people that when to really, if you really want to know, like, and you want the, like, let's say the fast track to understanding anything is
Yes.
and everything is to understand this. Are you're not your thoughts, because you could think different thoughts, right? You're not
Exactly.
your emotions. You're not your past. You're not your body. So what are you, right? Because
Yes.
so like you can change so much. So then you start thinking, and then my conclusion, and maybe I'll be able to say it better or differently one day, is we're all that life. It's that infinite light beings, right?
Yes.
Inhabiting this body, and that same piece of life that's in me is in you, is in a plant, is in,
Yeah.
right, the bunny rabbit, whatever, right? And then once that ceases to be, then you are no longer alive. Then, and that's what it is, right? It's just like, so if you can really contemplate and understand that everything, as you said, everything can change. You could be, and I've seen, and we've all seen, heard in stories, is you could be the most poor person in the world, and within 3 years be the richest person in the world. It's
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
You could be the most miserable person and be, it's all like, it's all about what you believe, where you put your limits, what your habitual thoughts are, and then getting rid of those blocks. And what are those blocks? Like, and how do you get rid of those? Gratitude, forgiveness are huge ones, right? To get rid of it.
Yes.
That are just
Yes.
like anchors holding you down, limitations, holding you down, and then self love, like loving yourself enough to allow yourself. And then what is, go too deep again, but what is self, right? So like,
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so if you, and where are you standing? Where's your perception? So are you looking at it as, you know, Tanya looking out, Tanya looking in, or are you looking at it as like the infinite light being source looking down and saying, well, that's Tanya, but it's also Andrew, and it's also, and that's where that we're all connected. And then saying, you
Yeah.
know what, from that point of view, why doesn't Tanya deserve everything? Right?
Yeah.
Why not?
Exactly. I agree. On different levels, yeah. Yeah, it's completely it. And even like Neville Goddard is talking about this I amness, and a lot of like gurus and spiritual people. So this I am is actually this awareness of or consciousness that we all are in the core of our being.
Yes.
And then if we look at our life from that perspective, and if we identify as spiritual beings, having a human experience, and not just as a body, or as a what happened to us in the past, then we will definitely, we can then change much more successfully, because people who are stuck in those patterns of defining themselves as less than, then they're stuck in their own definition of the self, and that's what creates a lot of problems and limitations for human beings, because if you don't believe that you're powerful, that you can change the world, that you can change your life, then it's very hard for you to do that, so it's all about, I would say, that that's why definition of who we actually are is very important. And once you introduce people to this new definition, that's, wow, look, you're powerful, you're a multidimensional being, you're a soul, you can evolve, you can change, you can grow, you can have different experiences, then people are slowly kind of loosening those ties with the past, with traumas, with what happened to them, and then they can kind of blossom into new flowers, let's say.
It's nice. That's beautifully said. Nice
Thank you.
picture. Yeah, I completely agree. It's understanding this is just one life. It's very significant and extremely insignificant, right? Again, on your perception. So like we all die. Like so what? And we've probably lived, and don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but many, many, many lives before this, and we'll probably live many lives afterwards, right? So like don't make such a big deal of this one. It's like it's
Yeah,
only
I think, yeah, a lot of those kind of false levels of importance comes from the ego. So it's like, uh, we are actually extremely important, as you said. Like we're like more powerful than like than most of the people even know about. But it's like, uh, if you're coming to claim that power from a wrong perspective of the ego power, that's when people get entangled in their own over importance. But that's not actually the importance of what we are talking about here. The real importance is in the being and in the contributing to life in some sort of meaningful way for yourself and for others, without having the sense of, oh, I'm better than you, and but in terms of this connection, like we are all connected and we can all contribute, and then we can just relax in the now, and share our experience between us, and go on a journey, like, so it can be kind of perceived as we are on a journey, and which kind of puts the pressure off dying, or all these kinds of thoughts of you know something being final, or you know what I mean. So
yeah.
it's like, again, it's about the definition of
Mm.
things. And
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I came, it was a month or so ago, I was meditating, and I thought of a really, like, it's gonna sound horrific at first, and then it's actually a really beautiful thought, is like, there's is there anything that could kill our soul, you know? And then I was meditating on that, and I was like, "No, no, there isn't," there isn't. Like, I would be scared. I have no fear, or, I like to think that. Most things the big things I'm not afraid of. And it's to understand that, well, if there was something that could kill the essence of life in me that was going to continue, then that would be scary. But there's not. So what does it really matter? And then I think those things of like self development and keeping your body in good shape is like, well, you use your mind. You were saying like neuroplasticity. Your mind creates your reality, creates everything. You're using it all day, all night, even when you're asleep. Your subconscious mind continues. So it's just like it's this 24-hour thing. So why would you not invest in sharpening the one tool that you're always using, right? If your whole life was to to saw wood, why would you not invest in the best saw, right? If that was your whole reality, just sawing and sawing, you would like figure out how to make the saw better. So like that's one thing. And the other thing was a great quote, said, well, if you destroy your body, where will you live? Like it,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
It sounds so simple, but it's true, right? Like you can't like, oh, I'll just go, like maybe some very high spiritual people could inhabit a wolf or a bunny rabbit or something that I beyond my understanding. But normally you're not life being, you have like this physical body. So treat it right, you
I,
know?
I think that's a great point, because some people say, this is only a relative plane, like a relative realm, so it doesn't really matter what you do here, or like nothing gets affected because we are consciousness. So whatever you do here, like you can eat this, that, or the other, or you can do whatever, you can have, like take drugs and stuff, and it won't matter. But I totally get what you're saying. It's like, for me personally, I would say to live life with integrity, and that comes, from, again, from feeling, what integrity means for you. Like, what type of life do you want to lead? So if you want to be, kind of, person who follows a certain discipline, and I mean, even without the discipline, we are, all consciousness and I am ness at the same time, all the time. So we don't actually need to do anything but just be on that type of plane. But in 3D, we are still kind of doing the processes and, doing different stuff. So what I would say is, like, do things from the best of your knowledge. Like, if I believe that, for example, my body, if my body is pure, I would probably have, more kind of peace of mind. I would be able to meditate better. I would be able to clear my thoughts, to have maybe more good quality thoughts. Like, it is kind of linked in that relative, 3D dimension. But like I said, it's kind of complicated, because we are talking here about, kind of both the sensations of the body and mind and emotions, and at the same time we are talking about the spiritual realm, which is kind of also linked. But I would say, like, to kind of make things more simple, so to do everything that you do out of your sense of integrity. So whatever feels right to you, whatever feels like, the right thing to do in that particular moment, for your body, for your mind, and whatever creates this sense of peace, inner peace and happiness, to just do that,
Mm.
simple as that. And that will give you the same as gratitude. I think if we kind of implement some of those techniques, you will have better chances of then hiring your levels of energy, and then your life
Yeah.
experience.
Integrity and ethics are the highest, and there's no because it's a slippery slope. So just never break. They're not like non-negotiable, right? That's what you say. Like
Yeah,
those are,
exactly.
number one. And then I would never sacrifice my vibrational level for anything or anybody. There's no temptation that would, I don't want to tempt fate by saying that, but knock on wood or whatever. But it's like, there's nothing that good that would ever. Everything's about, I say, like higher vibration, because that's what makes you feel better, happier, get what you want, live a better life experience, and all that stuff. So I do absolutely agree on that. And having that, um, I have like like having a mission statement, and I think every single person, like a business, should have a mission statement, and having that north star. Why do I do the things I do? Right? Why am I waking up in the morning? What is the point of my day? What is the point of my week, my month, my year, my life? Right? And just kind of go in this thing and say, hey, well, what am I here for? So, like for myself, and that's what keeps my channel going. That's what keeps, um, you know, getting wonderful guests like you, like on the show, that it just always comes together, because my intention is to help as many people as possible raise their vibrational level, right? So I know that a lot of stuff that we spoke about today, a lot of people unfortunately won't be able to listen to it because they're not going to be a vibrational match. But the ones that do hear it, will be able to, get something out of it. And I always say self help, because we can only, like, no one can really help you. They can just show you, and then you have to do the work and help yourself, right? So you can show the person the right answer. It's like you can put it right in front of them. Like, here's a cookie. And now here's the cookie. It's super good. You should eat it. And they could be like, they see the cookie and they're just like, yeah, I'm gonna go over there. It's not your fault. It's not. There's no blame on you, right? It's just there's only so much. I look at it like that, like, self help. it's yourself. It's all up to you, your experience, but learning from and discussing, like having discussions with you. It's always like brings my level up in my imagination to different places where I'm able to then like get more things by reading. And then you said, I just want to say this last point that you said about I am. I just want to talk about, there's a guest I had, David Jokes, and he's got something called the I am project that he developed. And it's based on like NLP and stuff like that. It's amazing. So you should like,
Okay.
just a side note, check that out.
Definitely, I will. Yeah, yeah.
He's like a national bodybuilder and like a champion. Like he's just like super ripped guy, and he basically understood. Very intelligent, brilliant guy. He's mad at me if I say that about him because he's very humble, but he's a brilliant guy, and he was able to understand how to train the body and take that to the mind. And a lot of it, he said about it's about core training. So like if your core is strong, like it starts with that. You can't like start lifting stuff if you don't have a strong core. And then understanding how that mentally to make your core strong and then go out. It's really interesting. Oh yeah,
Well,
that's
I'm definitely gonna check him out. He sounds like a very interesting person, and
yeah,
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 I would be up for that. Definitely.
yeah,
I really like to always broaden my horizons as well, and to kind of to be able to then be updated myself, because like you said before, like we're not finished product. We
no,
are all the time learning and growing and evolving, and having this different perspectives, and sometimes even completely new perspectives that overthrows
yeah,
some of our
yeah,
older perspectives. So and I think it's very important if people are kind of open minded like that, to support that openness and kind of flexibility in other people too, uh, because then we can all kind of take the best out of it, and then it's a support as well, as you said, like to have those kindred spirits around you that support you on your path, and to kind of encourage you to all the time develop and have like deeper and deeper levels of
mm,
experience, and yeah, I think it's very important for spiritual growth, and for um, our life in this 3D dimension, because it's not it might be an illusion, but it's what we are experiencing now. So I'm seeing it as equally important, of course.
it's always very easy to speak with you, and we're pretty much
You too,
running
yeah.
running over time. So I wanted to ask you, Tanya, is there any last thought, last advice, last things that you want to share with the audience? You said so many great things, but yeah, any last thoughts?
Well, I just want to encourage people to always believe in themselves. I also, like I find it as my life mission to kind of help people raise their levels of awareness and consciousness, and help them on their life journey. So I would definitely always encourage people to, see everything as a part of the process of becoming a better version of yourself. Like we're all kind of on that path. And so if I can wish to anything to people, is that they always believe in their own self, because this is how you believe in the universe and in the creator, and you know um if you believe in God, then God. If you believe in universe, then universe. So whatever created us, I think it's this is how we show our loyalty to it, by believing in ourselves and our capacity to always kind of expand our minds and our hearts. And yeah, and I also wanted to say, like, I'm definitely open to work with people, and um
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask
like
you.
I said,
Sorry, the last thing.
yes.
Where can people reach you? Where's the best place to reach you?
Well, they can reach me on Facebook. So I have my business page on Facebook called ETT, Empowering Thought Therapies. And they can also reach me on Instagram, where I have the same name for my page and business. So then we can schedule an introductory session, and we can go from there. So basically that's it. And yeah, I mean, I hope I can, like you said, like we're not, obviously not everyone is interested in the same type of therapy or coaching, but I believe, we will always find people who are, they're supposed to be there for some reason, and we are supposed to be there for them. So right people will find each other, I'm sure of that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, amazing. Okay, look, thank you so much, Tanya, and I'll put like the links in the description and everything
okay, yeah,
everywhere.
great.
And so that's it. So look, with that, I'll say thank you so much again for taking the time to speak with myself and the audience. And I will wish you a great day and a successful and peaceful mind.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for having me, and it was a pleasure as always talking to you. And you're a great host, and I wish all the best for your podcast as well, because it's like it's a great thing to do, and I think it helps a lot of people. So I'm very happy for you, and that you're contributing in that sense is awesome.
Okay, thanks, Tanya. Okay,
Okay,
bye.